Do you feel like you're always tired and that you need multiple coffees to get you through the day? Or that you're tired, literally, of not having the energy to do the things that you actually want to do? Well, the good news is that there is a solution for that, and it involves the way you eat. Obviously, the way you eat is not the only thing that's going to impact how tired you feel or your fatigue levels or your energy levels, but it is what we're going to focus on today because I feel like a lot of people aren't aware of how big the impact of your food choices can be on your energy levels. So here's how you need to be eating to stop being tired all the time. So first of all, this is always the same, but you need to make sure that you are eating healthy and balanced meals and that you are eating plenty of whole foods like whole grains and beans and lentils and fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds, and that you're getting enough protein and enough complex, non-refined whole carbs. You also need to make sure that you are not eating too many processed foods, so too many refined sugars, too much like junk food or like fast food, lots of different sweets, things like that. They are totally okay on occasion, but you shouldn't be having them all the time. If we get into the specifics a little bit more, you need to be focusing on getting these foods. So first of all, whole carbs. It's very important that you focus on getting whole carb sources because they are made with like complex sugars, and so it's going to take quite a long time for them to be assimilated in your body and digested. So you're going to be getting sugar and energy that is going to be released to you over time. That is going to give you energy over a long period of time. Whereas if you're focusing on more refined foods like processed foods and junk food, fast food, and lots of like sugary foods, things like that, then you are going to get like a really high increase in sugar and then a really high insulin spike, and then that energy is not going to last a very long time. It's going to crash, and that's just not going to be ideal to maintain your energy levels. As usual, totally okay to have once in a while, just not like all the time, all day, every day. So focus on eating things like whole wheat pasta and brown rice and quinoa and bulgur and buckwheat and things like beans and lentils like chickpeas. Also fruit and starchy vegetables like potatoes or sweet potatoes or peas or things like that. Do you feel like you're always going on different types of diet plans but nothing seems to work? Do you feel like you can't control yourself around food and that your food obsession is taking up all of your energy and time? I put together a free training that covers the 8 steps you need to take in order to figure out healthy eating for good. In this training, you'll learn about which foods you should be having for optimal health, which ones you should be avoiding also, and the quantities in which you should be having them. You'll also learn why you need to incorporate the less healthy foods that you love into your diet and how you can do that, and more. So make sure you check out the link for that in the description. You have nothing to lose and everything to win. Now back to the video. Protein is also something that you want to be focusing on to make sure that your energy levels are as high as possible, because proteins are basically long chains of something called amino acids. There are certain amino acids that can really help with sleep in general. Like for instance, one of them is called tryptophan, and then it gets converted into serotonin and then into melatonin, which is the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to go to sleep. So everything is linked. If you're not getting enough melatonin, then you're probably not getting signaled enough that it's time to go to bed. Maybe you're not sleeping enough, and so maybe you then lack sleep and then lack energy throughout the day. You also need to make sure that you're hitting your mineral requirements. Now, that's something that I don't focus too much on, because if you're eating healthy and balanced meals with a lot of the ingredients that I talked about, then you're going to naturally hit your requirements. But there are 2 that I would really watch out for in particular. So the first one is magnesium, that is found in leafy greens, in nuts and seeds, in chocolate, in legumes, and in whole grains. And it promotes sleep quality and sleep duration, which can then in turn make you feel more rested and more energized. And I'm going to be putting the links to the studies in the description, or like in my blog post in the description. Another one you really need to watch out for is iron, that you can find in seafood, in red meat, in spinach, in legumes, and in tofu. And iron helps carry oxygen throughout your body and helps with the production of energy in your body. And low iron levels are associated with feeling like really exhausted and fatigued and energy deprived. I have a whole video on iron and where to get it if you're interested that you can check out here or in the description. Also, drinking enough water is crucial because you need to stay hydrated enough to help carry important nutrients to your cells to give them energy. And also, being dehydrated is linked to feeling more sleepy during the day and more fatigued in general. So caffeine is a stimulant and can help you stay awake, and it can improve vigilance and cognitive function. And that's because in your body you have a neurotransmitter that is called adenosine, which slows down your neural activity and makes you feel sleepy. But then when you drink caffeine, it inhibits the receptors for this adenosine, so the adenosine can't bind to them and therefore can't have this kind of activity that makes you feel more sleepy, and so you are going to feel more alert. But this is not like true energy that it gives you. You should not be relying on caffeine. Caffeine also puts your body under stress, like under stimulated stress, because it's going to release cortisol and adrenaline, which are things that you feel when you are in stressful situations. So that is why you are going to feel more alert, more energized, but I really don't recommend that you use this as a tool to like combat your lack of sleep or like your lack of energy. And also make sure that you're waiting at least 6 hours before going to bed after drinking caffeine, because then it can make it really hard for you to fall asleep, and then you're going to feel less rested and then need more coffee, and it's like a vicious cycle. Aside from specific foods, your way of eating can totally influence your sleepiness or tiredness. If you're eating all your meals at irregular times, then that can definitely impact your energy levels. And there's this thing called chronobiology, which is so basically the study of things that are linked to time and how that affects human organisms, and that's very important to study when it comes to nutrition. There are 3 components to it. There's the time of day, so what time are you going to be eating your meals? There's the frequency, so how many meals are you going to be eating in a day, for instance? And then there's regularity, so that's how often are you eating these meals? Is it a regular thing, or is it something that you do on special occasions? And studies have shown that there is a direct relationship, a direct regulatory relationship between your food intake and your circadian rhythm. So eating food and having regular eating patterns can help synchronize the circadian rhythm, and vice versa. The primary control of the circadian rhythm helps adapt your needs for food intake by regulating like the dark light cycle. So if you're not following chronobiology, then that can have an impact on your energy levels. So while I don't recommend you try to become a robot and try to eat your meals at the same time every single day and have exactly the same amount of time to eat and the same amount of time in between each meal, you don't need to do that. That's not realistic. But I would suggest that you give yourself a certain time window within which you can eat your meal, and try to have portion sizes be pretty much equivalent, and also make sure that you have a pretty equivalent space in between like each meal. So don't wait like 2 hours in between meal 1 and meal 2, and then 12 hours between meal 2 and meal 3. So what results from this is that you should not be skipping meals, and especially not breakfast, because after like a night of fasting, it's important to tell your body that you are now getting ready for the day, and to help like kickstart your metabolism and get you going, get your energy going. It's very important to break that fast and to eat something. Now, I know that a lot of people tell me that they don't feel hungry in the morning, and it's okay to have a little bit of a delayed breakfast. Maybe you're able to wait like 30 minutes, 1 hour after you wake up. If you already gone to work or something, you can take something on the go if that's possible. But in any case, it's very important that you eat a little something to start your day right. And what you eat for breakfast kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day. That's the way that I like to think about it. If I eat a balanced, healthy, filling breakfast, then I'm more motivated to then make healthy choices throughout the day because I have the energy to do so, and so like the brain power to make good choices. But if I skip breakfast, then it just kind of throws me off a little bit. So of course, everybody's different when it comes to breakfast, but if you feel like you are tired all the time and are skipping breakfast, it may be worth a try to incorporate that into your schedule. Another very important thing that you need to be doing is you need to be listening to your hunger and fullness cues. If you are very hungry and you are letting that hunger go on for too long, then you are not going to have the energy that is necessary for you to stay awake and do like basic functions. So you can't let yourself get too hungry. Also, if you let yourself get too full, if you're not in tune with your fullness signals, then you may feel a little bit drowsy, a little bit fatigued because your body has all this food to digest, probably like in one sitting, and it has like lots of work to do, and you may feel like you want to take a nap. So you need to find the right balance, and the right portion size is the one that will leave you feeling content with your meal and satisfied and comfortably full, but not overly full. And if you're able to find consistency in your meal times and in your portion sizes, then it will be easier for you to figure out your hunger and fullness cues, because you're going to get used to having a pretty similar meal at a pretty similar time each day, and you're going to be able to see, okay, how does my body feel right now compared to yesterday at the same meal, like for the same time. You're going to be able to see, am I more hungry? Am I less hungry? Do I need to eat more? Do I need to eat earlier? And you're going to be able to figure out all of these things. I highly recommend learning to use the hunger and fullness scale that I made a whole video on right here if you're interested, or in the description. And to go along with that, make sure that you are eating enough in general, because if you feel fatigued or that you feel that you lack energy, that can also be linked to under eating in general. So make sure that you're getting the right amount of nutrients, the right amount of calories for you. And finally, if you feel that you are eating pretty healthy and balanced meals and that you are doing everything that I talked about, but you still feel very tired and low in energy, then I highly recommend that you speak with your doctor, because this may be just the symptom of an underlying condition that needs to be addressed. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.